I hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed everything you ate. I hope you had a full plate. I hope you enjoyed whatever it is that you did yesterday. And I hope that along with your cranberry sauce, your stuffing, your mac and cheese, your turkey leg, and everything else, ham, of course, ham. But on top of those courses, that you had a little bit of positivity, because this week we gonna need it, because it's Ravens week. And not only is it Ravens week, this is a Ravens week that happens once a year. This is the national TV Ravens week. This is the one where everybody is gonna be watching. So what are their chances at winning? How can the Browns pull off this upset at M&T Bank Stadium? And is it even possible? Well, we're going to talk about that. But before I get into that, I want to make sure I give a shout out to the patreon.com dog check tier members. I'm going to start with Michael Matique, Cam Vex, Jaleel Salim Jr. and Sr., Caleb Pickering, Benjamin Woods, Michael Terry, Sam28, Wani Boy, Rob Morehouse, Tyler Chiz, Michael Morales, Mark Kahn, Max Haymaker, Nick Merrick, D.A.J., Joe Hart, Gabriel Wilson, Fred Pat III, David Valtiar, Relentless Buck, Rex Kaufman, Kevin Johnson, Cleveland Cart, Matt H., Sign Sheets, Gemini, Leon Freeman, Fight 3074, Chunt, Yo-Yo, Matt Lloyd, Paul Wilcox, Hondo Magnifico, Cal Stoffer, Lukey from Munich, Dave Roth, J Guy 101, Musty Taco, Brad Calbo, Dylan W, James McGinley, Arendal, Chad Gimme, David Maldonado, Josh Bendor, Austin Rich, Mark M, Stuart Moore, Dylan Hill, Cleveland BCI, Robert Germain, Dave Mike May, Andrew Hirsch, Curtis Bayer, Batman, Barack Kumar, John Albert, Beerman 069, Masayua, Butts Roland, Mac House, Reeve Hertz, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Sean Barron, Goggles Pisano, Dom Gazzulo, Nick Nasty, Ian Whitaker, Colin 216, Christian, Dave Strong, Michael Stone, Soul Train, Billy, Moose Gentry, Austin Z, Mark Burnett II, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, Dog Pound Kai, Greg Ehlers, Austin Bolin, Lydia Mahawk, Alexander Davis, Chris Falms, Picktown Browns backer, Max Nilakenko, Max Al Dojo, and Water Bear Marketing. Again, guys, thank you so much for your support. It means a ton to me. Now, let's get into the video. You know, the season can be going however it's going, but the last few years don't nothing get me more excited than Browns versus Ravens. I love that matchup. I love the story that's being told between them, and I love how these two teams tend to compete against each other. And that being said, we have a team this week in the Cleveland Browns who have a hard time finishing games versus a team in Baltimore who can't start games to save their life, but they can finish them. So a little bit of a clash of winning philosophies for both teams here, but both teams need this victory. Both teams have something they want to prove on Sunday night. So how are we going to start this? We're going to start with the matchup for the Cleveland Browns on the defensive side of the ball. What are they going to do about Lamar Jackson? Now, that's a little bit of a trick question because there's only so much you can do about Lamar Jackson. And it is looking like Lamar Jackson is going to be playing. I know people out there like to act like, oh, you can solve Lamar if you just spy him or if you do this or if you make him throw. But those people aren't being honest, right? We know Lamar Jackson, if you're being honest with yourself, is one of the most difficult players in football, probably the most difficult quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes to defend against because he can do so many things. He can throw out the pocket well. He can throw on the run well. He can run well. He can do all of those things well. He is a nightmare to defend. So that's first and foremost. What's the plan for Lamar Jackson? Is it going to be JOK and a spy? I don't think that's going to be the plan just because, yes, JOK is a great athlete, but JOK is better utilized if he's doing what he's supposed to do at that will linebacker position to stop Lamar Jackson. If you put him at spy, you kind of nerf your best linebacker to turn what would be 7-yard runs into 4-yard runs, right? And that has its value, but that's a little bit more like prevent defense to me. And I'm not the biggest fan in the world of that. And given that the Browns don't run that much man to begin with, they run a ton of zone, I don't really see the need to run a bunch of spy. Now, again, that's not me saying, oh, Lamar isn't going to run against you. He is going to run, and he's going to be successful on the ground against you because he's Lamar Jackson. Like, that's just going to happen. But do I think you're going to solve that problem with JOK as a spy? I really don't think you're going to do it. So how do you do it? Well, you get the Ravens behind the sticks, right? This is the simplest solution to everything in football, right? I talked about this during the Lions game, during my live stream. By the way, make sure you guys are subscribed and notified so you can check out my live stream during the game this week. So 8 o'clock at night, check me out. We'll be live watching that game. And we're probably going to do a post-game show. Depends on how tired I am at that point. But nonetheless, when you play against the Ravens or when you play against any team, the simplest solution is usually the best game plan. And what's the simple solution against a team like the Ravens? What's a simple solution against a team that has a dynamic running threat? Period. You take the running game out the game. How do you do that? You do that by forcing them into a bad position as far as points go, as far as down and distance goes. Now, this is not a Ravens team of years past where they will not shoot themselves in the foot. This Ravens team will absolutely give themselves some penalties, procedural penalties, false start penalties. They do it just as much as the Browns do it, right? They give themselves enough problems as much as the Browns on offense give themselves enough problems. So they'll give you some extra opportunities getting behind the sticks, but that's going to be what it comes down to. You need to get the Ravens behind the sticks to win. How are you going to do that? Well, Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, this is your week to be great. Myles Garrett didn't get a sack last week, so you're hungry for a sack this week. Jadeveon Clowney hasn't gotten a sack in a couple of weeks, but he's been useful. And I think this is the week for those two to be great, right? If you want to win this game, you're going to need a great performance from Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. Why? One, because they can set the edge and mitigate a lot of that damage you can get from Lamar Jackson when he's running. Also going to need Malik McDowell and whoever. This is the biggest concern for me on the defensive line. Whoever's playing that opposite D tackle position, right? If it's Jordan Elliott, if it's Sheldon Day, whoever it is that's going to play that position, Tommy Togiai, they need to be disciplined. Because what I've seen from not Jordan Elliott is that he's not disciplined in maintaining his lanes, his rush lanes, and that leads huge gaps for quarterbacks to run through. I saw it a couple of times the last 2 weeks. Fortunately, you're playing Tim Boyle and McCorkle Jones. And McCorkle Jones is a good quarterback. He's actually going to be a really good quarterback. I flipped completely on McCorkle. I've watched a lot of tape on him. McCorkle's going to be good, but he's not a runner. So those lanes you're leaving open, he's not going to run through. But Lamar is. Lamar is absolutely going to bulldoze through those lanes if you're not disciplined. If you're too eager to get a sack on Lamar Jackson, that's a problem, right? We need the edges to be athletic, in their stance, disciplined. They're going to try to screen you. They're going to do a couple of tight end screens. They're definitely going to screen the ball to Hollywood Brown. They're definitely going to try to confuse those edges, and we need a disciplined game here. This is not a game where I need a ton of sacks from Jadeveon and Myles, but I would appreciate 4 between the two of them tackles for losses, right? Like that would be everything for this defense if they can get those things. So this is a tackle for loss game. Look, you can't be super aggressive. You can't be biting on every fake that the Ravens are going to do, and you can't let happen what the Patriots did to you, which is be over aggressive in your rush lanes in the interior defensive line to the point to where you can't read these screens. So that's an issue there. Obviously, the tackling just needs to get better than it's been the last 2 weeks. And the sideline play needs to be better. And this is weird for this team because defensively they were good at that at one point of the year, but the play is drastically dipped on the defensive side of the ball. Now, some of that might be with JOK getting limited snaps the last few weeks. Maybe he plays full snaps this week. Maybe that puts something together. Maybe they go in more nickel positions. But also it might have to do with the solutions that they put in place by going more man coverage on the outside with the outside corners, right? You give them man coverage on the outside even though you're running zone on the inside. And that can sometimes be something that throws off your sideline defense because you're just losing 2 men on the sidelines every play to man coverage, or at least if they run the right route combinations, and usually teams do that. So that's been an issue for this team. If that stops, Hollywood Brown from leaking wide open like my man Mike Williams did in the Chargers game, or oh my goodness, DeAndre Hopkins did in the Arizona game. You might have to live with that, but if you can find a happy medium between the two, that would be the case. Again, this is going to be a game where Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney are not only going to have great games, they're going to have great disciplined games. These are not going to be huge stat games for them. I don't anticipate it being huge stat gains for them. But it's going to be a game where you have to dominate your edge, set it, and push them in towards the middle of the field, push them back off the line of scrimmage, and capitalize when they make procedural mistakes to get off the field, right? Third down defense needs to come back. Get off the field when they give you the opportunity. If Lamar throws a ball in the middle of the field, you need to take advantage and intercept it. Do not leave points on the board. Do not leave opportunities and turnovers on the board this week. We need a clean game defensively. We need to take advantage of the mistakes that the Ravens are going to give you because they've been playing sloppy football just like the Browns. And when they give those opportunities, you need to take advantage of them. And Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney have to play under control, right? They have to not be so aggressive. This is going to be partly on the game plan, but not be super aggressive. We're not going to blitz a ton. Be patient, set those edges, and wear them out the whole game. That's why I think the game plan is going to be defensively. You can frustrate Lamar Jackson more like that than if you just blitz him relentlessly, because this is not a man who can't read defenses. This is not a man who lacks in film study. Lamar, if you blitz him, he's going to eat up those blitzes. So you got to be patient. You got to just frustrate them and choke that offense in, and they're going to make mistakes. Take advantage of it. On the offensive side of the ball for this Cleveland Browns team, I know what everybody's going to say. Run the ball. Chubb and Chunt, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, obviously we can Kareem Hunt back here. You're going to want to try if you can run the ball. But I want to remind Browns fans that for the bulk of the Lions game, this is a Browns team that struggled to run the ball versus the Detroit Lions. Now, getting Jack Conklin back, that might change things, but the last time Jack Conklin came back, it really didn't change things. I believe that was the Pittsburgh game. Still had issues running the ball. So, yeah, I would love if they could just run this ball all game, and that could be the offense. But you don't put up 14 points. You don't put up 7 points because your run game's been outstanding the last few weeks. They put up good numbers, but I think those numbers are inflated because the Browns tend to get big runs late in games. Sometimes they're important to winning, sometimes they're not. But I do think that inflates how good this run game has been on a play-to-play basis. It certainly hasn't been like it was last year, where it was more automatic. This year, it's there sometimes, and it's absolutely not other times, and that really mucks up the play calling. So as much as I would love to just sit here and say, hey, man, we're going to be able to run the ball down their throats, I just don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, Calais Campbell, Brandon Williams is coming back. These are guys that it's been hard to run against if you're the Cleveland Browns for a while, and I don't think that's going to change. So what needs to happen on offense? We're going to need Baker to make plays. And to some people, you're excited by that. Baker Mayfield going to make plays. He's going to show everybody on national TV. And I hope y'all right. I hope y'all right about that. I really do. To other people, that makes them a little nervous, right? That this is going to be a game. And look, here's the reality. For the rest of the year, for the Browns to win any of these games, it's going to come down to whether Baker Mayfield can make plays or not. Now, is he too injured to make plays? I don't think so. I think he has more than enough physical capability to make good plays. And honestly, if we want him to be the franchise quarterback, if you're going to be out there as a franchise quarterback, right? If that's the bar is the bar, right? The standard is the standard. And if you think you're a franchise quarterback, if you can suit up and play, you better be able to make franchise quarterback plays to win games, because that's why you're out there. So I get that people want to excuse some of this stuff on the injuries, and there's some stuff that you can excuse on the injuries, but the overall lackluster level of play that he has had the last year, this whole year, is not something I could write off with just injuries, right? I think that's irresponsible. So at this point of the season, Baker's going to have to do something. Baker's going to have to make plays. Baker's going to have to make do with whatever he has. Kareem Hunt, David Njoku, probably going to be the most targeted guys. It would be great to get Jarvis Landry involved in the game more, but honestly, the realist in me is just giving up on the idea that they're going to target wide receivers this year. It's been 12 weeks. They have not done it once. So I'm just going to lean into maybe David Njoku and Kareem Hunt. That's where they're going to lean in on his passing game. Look, Baker's going to have to make some tremendous plays in order for the Browns to win this game. For the Browns to be in the game last year, Baker had to make a number of tremendous game plays, and that was at home. This year is going to be no different, and he's going to have to make more plays. We're going to have Baker Mayfield have the best game he has had all year to win this game. There's no ifs, ands, buts around it. I would love if the running game could make this simple. We don't even have to worry about how well Baker Mayfield plays because they rush for 300 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns between the two of them, and then we sipping Mai Tais on the bye week, chilling. Right? I would love nothing more than that kind of performance from the run game. I just don't think that's going to be the case. And if that's not the case, it's going to come down to Baker Mayfield, and he's going to have to make plays. And this is the ultimate gamble, right? If he makes those plays on national TV, if he looks good, if he has the best game of his year on national TV, hey, man, it's going to be a lot easier to support Baker Mayfield, right? Like, people are going to get off of his case a little bit because when you play well on national TV, that's just what happens. People get off of your case. But if he doesn't play well, if he has another 2-interception game, if he looks like an issue, if he's slogging through this offense again, like he's been all year or for the most of this year, it's not going to be fun, right? The Baker Mayfield discourse nationally, locally, is not going to be fun. But that's what it's going to have to be. This game, I feel like, is going to come down to Baker Mayfield because the run game, I think they're going to maybe get a little bit of production, but I don't think they're going to be able to gash the Ravens at the point that where you can gash them. And where the Ravens are vulnerable is in the passing game, is that deep coverage. You have to attack their safeties, and that's Baker Mayfield's job. So Baker's got to do his job this week. He has to be a playmaker this week, and that's the long and short of it. And honestly, if he performs at the Browns, this is why I say this game is so important, because what you need to win this game is a playmaking performance by your quarterback. And if he proves that he can do that this year and he can get back to form, then we back on, right? We can still win a division. We still feel a lot better about this team because we have a playmaker at quarterback. But if you don't, it's going to be a lot harder to believe that this team can make any noise, even if they do make the playoffs. So this is going to come down to Baker Mayfield. I hope the best for him. And I hope that this is another thrilling game that we can go into the bye week feeling good about either way, whether it's a win or loss, because it's not another lackluster performance. But we'll see what happens with this team. We'll see what happens with the Browns. Either way, I'm excited. Sunday Night Football. Make sure you join me on the live stream. But that's my thoughts on this week's game. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.